The Go strategy for wireless is www.cisco.com/go/wireless. And again, it'll break down our product portfolio here. Let's just start about our access points. Our access points, again, we'll start with our premium access point, which is the AirNet. Now again, the technology that's in the background is airspace. But our product line is AirNet because it was purely our market name, that. So the 3600 again is the if you notice it says is a 4x4 MIMO. So it's got 4 transmitters and 4 receivers for the spatial streams. So it can actually do 4 spatial streams, 4 transmit, 4 receive, and uses any 3 of those for up to 450 megabits per second of transmission. So you actually have an extra spatial stream there on to actually use for redundancy and reliability. Yes, sir.
Eddie, I don't want to take you off track.
Yeah.
At some point, could you just spend 1 or 2 minutes just kind of explaining MIMO and sort of the benefits of it, and also because I kind of understand what MIMO is on the front end. From the AP side, but I've also been told that from the client side, if they're they only have one radio. So I wanted to sort of see how the clients.
Yeah. Well, multiple input, multiple output is the ability to send out the same signal in multiple ways, right? To create spatial streams, to create those. And again, you can use one antenna and you can't get spatial streaming unless you do MIMO. So if you want MIMO here, we have 4 spatial streams.
Is that pretty much what you're talking about?
Yes, that's what I was talking about before.
But if the client only has one radio.
If the client only has one radio, it doesn't really matter. He's going to choose the best one. He's going to choose the best. Now what we can do is that's where client link comes in, because if it's a G client, that's where client link comes in, to where it will actually start beamforming the other 2 and hit it at the same time, where that one signal looks better. That's what he'll do. That's where client link comes in. That's what we were talking about earlier.
So the advantage is that one is it's sending several spatial streams for different clients.
Yes.
And the other one is if there's only one client in the room, then the advantage for MIMO is that it's each radio is sending it at a different time. It's doing a little time spacing, and it can do that for multiple clients in the same room. It's not just one client. Our access points can keep up with like 50 or so clients and do that in the same room. So again, the 3600 is our premium access point. Notice it's modular, and it has the capabilities of upgrading. So it's modular design. Our radios and our capabilities allow us to open up the cover, and actually supporting our wireless security and spectrum analysis, the next generation of spectrum analysis and the chips that we'll be putting out there. These will be upgradable. So you won't have to buy a new access point. You can actually upgrade them. So these have modular. They actually have multiple slots inside of them. It uses Cisco Clean Air, so it actually has the interference protection. What Clean Air does is if there's interference in a room and it sees the interference and it's affecting all the clients, the capabilities of the clients, it will choose another frequency and tell the clients, let's go over here to another channel, and drag the clients with them and make the clients change channels. Why is that important? Because that might be the only way this client can connect up. Our access points can also, well, we'll talk about that when we get to another thing. Again, Client Link 2.0 is the one where we actually do beamforming. We can actually force capabilities. iPads, we can force iPads. Remember when I was talking yesterday and I had the 3 people sitting here and I said that the client can actually talk and decide which access point's better? What if I'm an iPad and I have a 2.4 radio and I have a 5 gigahertz radio? Now the 5 gigahertz signal doesn't come in as strong as the 2.4,
But I'm an access point, and an access point can say, you know what, I know you're an iPad and you can see me on 2.4 and 5. I'm going to sour 2.4. So when a client looks at it says, hey, I don't know which one of these to go to, 2.4 radio signal, which is really strong, or a 5 gigahertz signal that's not as strong, our access point will say, man, you don't want to go to that 2.4. It sucks. I'm really busy over there. So that interrogation that the client does back, we lie. We in essence lie to that client to drive somebody who's capable of going somewhere else over here, giving them the best possible signal, because there's some people out there who can't go there. So our 2.4 people get the best possible service, and we can drive our 5 gigahertz people over to 5. So we have the ability to do that. And I guess a little lie is not bad in some cases. Now, never say that to Emily, because that would hurt me. But again, it's upgradable to AC. So let's go to this thing. When you order these things, you can either order the I version, the 3600i, which has the internal antennas, 4 internal antennas and transmitters. That's what this is. Or the E version. The E has external antennas. Now, these external antennas can look like those like there. What can an antenna look like? What else can a wireless antenna look like? Could it look like something that's on the wall like that? Absolutely. It could actually be put in a wall and painted over, and you won't even see it. External antenna. Absolutely, we can do that. So we have a plethora of antennas and different things to put the signal where you want it for the best possible strength. Or you could just do this and let it go everywhere. Absolutely. That's where it's defined. The requirement is defined by the site survey. What a customer wants to do. What their requirements are. I just lost my glasses, so boy, we're in trouble now. Oh, here they are, yeah. Daggone things. Father time. God, he sucks. So again, this is the 36. This is our premium access point. This is our premium access point today.
When you say upgradable to AC,
Mm-hmm.
hardware upgrade?
It'll be a hardware upgrade. Yeah, hardware upgrade. Yes. Yeah, exactly. There will be a module that you'll take out and a module you'll put in. Yes. In the access points. Yeah.
One comment on this. It's actually on the back. There is a slot for you to put in a third radio.
Mm-hmm.
So it already has 2 radios.
Oh, so they already know that.
Yeah. Oh, it's already been built for it. Yeah.
There's a slot for you to put a third radio that's AC capable,
Yeah.
or a dedicated sensor if you want to do more scanning and for bands and stuff like that. So you can use it for both different types of adapters.
Yeah. So it's built for that. It was built, and again the 3500 was originally designed that way, but the 3600 is going to be much easier to upgrade. Much easier to upgrade. Yes, sir.
These intelligent technologies that we're going into the APs, is that eliciting a need for the variety of antennas that we offer?
Well, you have to understand, not everything's equal, right? You're going to have a lot of different access points and a lot of different antenna needs. Think about this. If we're running a business and my business is this room, that room, and the next room over, but I've got somebody else who's working over here, another business over here, I probably don't want to put a wireless access point that's sending signals everywhere. So I might buy an external one, the 3600E, and buy a patch antenna and put it here and send all of my energy that way, so somebody on the other side of this wall doesn't even know that we're there. And again, if I have built people on the top, as I go up, I don't have to worry about let me give you a little story here, and this is, again, Cisco sometimes doesn't know exactly what they're doing with some of these new technologies. True story. When Cisco acquired Aranet, everybody at Cisco started getting all this wireless stuff. Every lab, everybody started putting it everywhere, right? It was a new toy at Cisco, and it was cool. It was wireless. They actually, the people who originally built Aranet, the original founders of it, are wireless consulting. They do wireless consulting. And this is back in the 2000 time frame, 2000. And so we acquired the company and had it for 6-8 months. They were consulted. These people were hired as a consultant to go in and talk about the future of wireless and where Cisco's development should go and all this. You know, do some high-end consulting work. They landed at San Jose Airport. They jumped in a rental car and they started driving through Tasman here, where we have all these pretty buildings. And they didn't go to the original building. They just stopped by certain buildings and everything. And when they got to their final meeting in the building, they said, well, we obviously know you don't know crap about wireless. And they said, what do you mean I don't know? He says, I pulled into 4 different buildings and got behind your firewall at 4 different places. And I was at Cisco when the edict came out from IT, internal IT, turn off all wireless. And they were having people walk around in all the buildings looking for wireless access points to turn off. Because every lab had them. Because we didn't know, there was no security on it. They were pulling into the parking lot at Cisco and getting behind our firewall. Yeah, because people were just, it's a toy. They just didn't think, they didn't know about it. So think of it, if we were doing that, what do you think your customers are doing? I went to the mall one time, about 4 years ago, I went to the mall and just I took my laptop and opened it up and just to see. And I'm telling you, I could get behind all these firewalls of all these different companies who just put wireless out there. So you have to, that's part of the introductory of this. You'll have external access points, 3600s in certain places where you want clean air, where you want all this stuff for maybe the core of your building, but you might not need that everywhere. You might take some 2600s and put them there. There'll be a mixture of access points and antenna arrays that you need to make this work. There's some companies who don't want it to go outside their building. They don't want somebody sitting in the car to even see their wireless. Right? They don't. I mean, because there are people who are really good at hacking it. I would think this guy's probably really good at hacking wireless. And I've got a friend who's really good at hacking it. If I saw him pull his car out in front of my house, the only way I could secure my wireless I would feel comfortable with is turn it off. He's that good. Because he could do it. He's really good. Now, I think I'm secure, but I'd rather not try that. So it's going to be a mixture. It's not just one product, one thing. It's going to be a mixture of all these different ones that you have depending on your needs. Did I answer the question? I might have went too far, but I apologize. So our 2600s are, again, it's new. At least it says it's new. The 2600 is, again, has some of the same technologies in it. It has client link, clean air inside of it. It's 3x4. That means it has 3 transmitters, 4 receivers on it. So it's a little less. Again, it supports up to 450 megabits of connectivity. And again, notice that you can have controller-based or standalone solution. You can still buy our access points with iOS, the iOS version. And they're independent. You have to configure them individually, or you can do as a controller. Now again, light is right. I think lightweight with the access point, with the controllers are best. But for customers who only have 2 or 3 or 4, requirements for 2 or 3 or 4, that's all they need. You wouldn't have to buy a controller because the controller actually drives the price up significantly to buy a controller. So we have an option for that.
Best practice for how many antennas? I mean, when do you use 3x4? I mean, when do you use 3x4?
Well, it'd be based on your clients. You wouldn't need this if none of your clients are that. Who needs it?
Yeah, but how would my client know what's for him?
You'd have to look at the spec of your client. You'd have to look at the spec of your client. You'd have to know that. And that's the thing is, that's the big thing about, we can sell AC access points, but I don't know does anybody have clients for that yet? AC? There might be a couple out there, but very, very few. Very few. That's why they're saying it's going to take a pretty significant roll of time for all the AC clients to go out. They're going to do the same thing that they did before. First thing you're going to have is a widget that goes in there, and that's going to suck. I mean, there's nothing, nobody likes that. Who likes that? I don't. I don't like that. So, again, the 2600 is, again, enterprise class access point. Doesn't have all the bells and whistles and features. Again, it doesn't have the design to actually upgrade for AC. The 1600 is Cisco's lower end access point. And again, it has Clean Air Express. So Clean Air Express is actually robbing a radio to get it to do clean air. In essence, is what we're doing. It doesn't have the hardware in it. It actually does it in software. So, and again, our competitors use that as their only clean air. They don't put chips in there. So Aruba's clean air story is actually robbing the signal of the original radio to do all the other jobs, where we actually put a separate device in there to do it. So you don't lose performance of the box. They actually have, well, let's go to that. So there's the access points. Let's look at the controllers.
What about the outdoor access points?
The what?
Outdoor.
Oh, the outdoor access points? We kind of don't cover those in these classes, but I'll show them to you. Yeah, the 1500s, these are, that's what they look like. And they're for like outdoor WAN. Like what if you're a college campus, if you want to put them, you know, college campuses, big facilities, even public sector would use these. Yeah, stadiums, things like that. Now, we actually have a special access point for a stadium. But that's what they would be. And again, they have clean air capabilities as well to change channels and all this.
Can you access this section of the web page?
Yes, this is Cisco.com.
Yeah, but you access Go access points?
Yeah, just go wireless. Just go wireless. Yeah. I don't want to complicate anything. I'll show you where you can go behind the scenes and find our business units and everything. So our controllers, and again, the controllers are the brains for the lightweight access points. Now, again, there's a big push for this, and I'm going to introduce the theoretical. Why do I even want to manage this? If you think about it, this stuff is getting more complicated. It's not as simple as it used to be. IT staffs are dwindling and all this. Why not put this stuff in the cloud? Why not a hosted service for this? Could this be hosted? Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, all of the technologies we got from the cloud initially, and we're going to go back to the cloud. And we've got actually a lot of controllers and a lot of technologies that we're acquiring to actually start doing this and going into the cloud, because in the next 3 to 5 years, a lot of customers are going to just throw up their hands. I had a CIO of a pretty good sized company one time. Matter of fact, it's been about 3 years ago. Literally, I sat in his office. I just finished up working with his team. And he looked at me and he said, "What do you think of my team?" And that's a very difficult, and I'm as honest as I can be. Don't ask a question unless you want an answer. I'll try to, but I don't know how to water things down too much. And I told him, I said, "I think in certain technologies you're way over your head." And I was specifically talking about, he was trying to force IT people to fill some gaps in contact center that was not going to happen. And I told him that. I said, and he was very frank with me, and at the end of the conversation, he told me, and he had a total of 185 people working for him. And he said, if in the perfect world, Eddie, somebody could give me a number, just a number for every time I bring an employee on, and I would pay it, I'd have 5 people working for me. 5 people and my administrative assistant. I'd have 5 people who are in charge of architectural design and where we're moving to, and I'd outsource every bit of it. I'd outsource my mail, which he was starting to do anyway. I'd outsource everything I did. He was a CIO. Guess what? He's going to have that opportunity really soon. They're thinking about that. Why? Because how long does the average CIO keep their job? How long does the CIO last? 2 years. About 2 years. Up from 18 months not so long ago. Used to be 18 months. Their number one concern, keeping their job. Why? All of a sudden, some business leader somewhere says, "We're turning in this direction." And he's the guy that has to say, "Oh, but we can't." And what's it look like? He's the stumbling block. Why? Because he's He's working with antiquated equipment maybe. Maybe it's because he's not ready. He's not seeing the vision. It might be his own fault. He's not in touch with what's going on. John Chambers had a nice quote saying, a CIO's job is when a CEO turns to them and says, we're going this direction, for him to shake his head yes and say, we're well prepared to do that. And most CIOs are not. Because if the first time he shakes his head no and says, I've got to slow you down, is the day he better start brushing up his resume or his Facebook page or his LinkedIn page. Whatever he's using. Huh? Career is over, exactly. And that's true. Career is over. It might be over in a lot of cases. That's what's driving us to that, because this is more complicated than it's ever been. IT hasn't proven their value, and they've lost a lot of people. I mean, they're skeleton crew at best. So, some of these controllers can work in flex mode where they could actually be hosted at a central site at headquarters with no local controllers, or it could actually be hosted by a partner or a service provider to actually manage somebody else's wireless. And that's important, maybe for your customer. How do you figure that out if it's important to your customer? You ask them. That's not a trick question. You ask them. You find out about it. And it may be they say, you know what, we've had wireless in here for years and it kind of has worked, but this is getting too important to us and we're not getting the service we think we want. And we might be able, that might be some place that we come in with either services or our partners come in or somebody comes in with a hosted solution. So our controllers, again, here's the 8500 series. Again, ideal for service provider, large campus deployments. Up to 6,000 access points. Wow! That's a lot of access points. 6,000. They don't have to be in the same building, just on the same campus. It could be across campus. Could be somewhere else. But 6,000 access points. Would you just have one of these? No, you're going to have two. Matter of fact, Cisco's got features in our access points to where you can actually do failover. It could one access point could be controlled by one controller here. We could have another controller in standby. If this controller goes away, it seamlessly jumps over here without loss of clients. That's why that's very important today for the BYOD solutions. Again, the 8500, and here's what it looks like. Yeah, it's in essence a closed server is what it is. A closed server. Anytime you hear the word appliance at Cisco. Yes, sir?
Does that file out to support video and voice?
Excuse me?
Does the file out support video and voice?
Does oh, yes, absolutely, yeah. It's designed for that, yeah. It actually is almost in dual registration mode. We have the Flex controller that Cisco created previous to the 8500, which was designed specifically for service providers in a more of a hosted environment. And then again, it scales to 6,000 access points as well. The data sheets, it should say that somewhere, or maybe it says it here. Yeah. It's just a new hardware platform. It's really just a new hardware platform.
Same software.
Yeah, same software. Yeah.
How does access points connect to the controller?
How do they connect to the controller? Through a special protocol called CapWAP.
No, I mean the physical cable. Or
Oh, it's a physical cable, right? On a network.
if you have 6,000 access points.
Yeah, you're going to have 6,000 Ethernet switch ports on 6,000 switches that are providing power over Ethernet for these guys, and your controller is probably going to be in your data center. Right? So it's just going to go across that. So as soon as they connect up, the first thing they're going to do is we're going to identify that and it needs to go across the network and get to that controller. Yeah. Yeah. And excuse me? Well, wireless mesh, again, with the wireless mesh, when an access point comes up, it says, oh, I see these other access points. I have no Ethernet, so I'm going to use the business, the administrative wireless network to be able to connect back to it and get my configuration.
I would just sort of
Yeah.
go back to if there's 6,000 access points.
Yeah.
There doesn't necessarily need to be 6,000 hardware
Yeah.
is going back to next year.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't have to be, but again, the massive majority are going to be. The massive majority.
Even if it's 6,000 access points for next door, probably
4,000, yeah, 4,000, 6,000, 5,000 ports.
yeah.
5,000 ports. Yeah.
Are these access points capable of doing the Wi-Fi upload?
Wi-Fi, yes, yeah, yes, absolutely. They have the interface to be able to do that. When we get to mobility services, we'll talk about in a second. But yes, we can do the offload from Wi-Fi into our IP telephony solution. The 5500 series controllers, again, up to 500 access points on these today. I think it's 500. Last time I looked it was, but let's see what it says. Yeah, up to 500. That number's actually going to go up eventually. But up to 500. It's an appliance, a separate box, depending on where you want to have that. And you buy these, like you can buy these with a 50, any of these, with you license them by access points. So let's say that 8500. I can buy the 8500 with 300 licenses. It can support 6,000, but I buy it at a lower cost for 300 licenses. As I add access points, I just buy licenses and put it on it. So you have to license this thing. I think the 8500 is licensed at 300, 600, 1,000, 3,000, and 6,000. So you could buy it fully loaded. Each one of those will be an incremental price increase. So they're licensed by the access points it will support. This is a cute little box. I like this one. If anybody wants, no, well, I won't say it. Christmas present would be nice, but I actually have one of these in the wireless kit that I've been using. But this is the 2500 series. A really small device, only about like this. It's got the same software as the biggest device, but it supports up to 50 access points. Up to 50. You can buy it with 5 and then add licenses of 5 access points, 5 more, 10, 25, whatever you want to do, up to 50. It's got the same thing, the same software as the big guy, it's just a smaller version. It's a sweet little thing. I love these little boxes. They're cute as a button. Yes.
Does this device support failover?
Does it? Yes, it does. With the new software, it does. Yes, it will support failover. With 7.3, yeah. What if you want... all of these boxes that we're talking about are really just a PC with our application running, or a server with our application on it. Anytime you hear the term appliance at Cisco, it's a server that we're running our own operating system, and all you can do is the configuration. You can't touch the operating system. That's what an appliance is at Cisco. As you'll notice, these look like servers. What if you just wanted to put it on your own server? What would be the benefit of just running this in your own virtualized server? This hardware to manage, right? What if I've already got the server out there that's doing one thing and I have enough processing power and memory and everything, and I've already bought the licenses, I could just spin this up. I could spin it up when I wanted it and spin it down when I don't. Might be easier to do. Cisco actually can sell the software for this for VMware, and it uses VMware. It's a virtual controller for up to 200 access points. Again, and 3,000 clients, and supports multiple branch locations and all this, that, and the other. So it's the same thing on a virtualized server in this software. So when you order this, you just get an image. That's all you get is an image of the actual controller. And this is really big in this world where people don't want to have all these appliances everywhere. It really is. It's the exact same software. There's some other interesting things. Let's go to network services and things. Oh, I got to hit this. What if you want to manage all of this? We talked about the prime infrastructure, the prime network management. Here's prime infrastructure, which is now the new product line for all of our network management. Our prime infrastructure, this is a, The literature, let's see, it's got a data sheet here. They don't even show pictures of this stuff. That's so bad. They should show at least a few screenshots. Prime is again, it's software. I guess I should go here. You can order this in servers, and it does all the network management for our solutions. So again, here's some of the selling features. Let's move down here to where it says, here's your requirements. It requires VMware version 4.1 or 5.0 of ESX or ESXi. Different sizes for a different number of devices. Again, for this, there's a chart down here. The small virtual will support 2,500 devices, and these devices could be an access point or a controller, all these different devices. So this is our network management platform that would manage all of our infrastructure. Anything Prime is something that I think you should sell your customer. Just don't mention our old network management, and you hope that the people don't remember it. Because I'm telling you, our network management history has been brutal up until we got Prime.
So Eddie, things like Prime, ICE, and MSC, and ABC applications.
Yeah.
All these things are just software products, right?
Absolutely.
So they're not an appliance of any sort.
No.
So the customer can use their own web
Well,
server
we
or
have
virtualized
requirements for the servers, and in some cases we will say you have to use this type of server on it. A Cisco, yeah, might be a Cisco server in some cases. In some cases, and again, it varies. I've seen some things that we say, as long as it meets these requirements, you can load it on anybody else's server. And then there's some certain things that we say, guess what? It's got to run on a Cisco C220M3. That's the server we support it on, depending on the thing. And I don't agree with that. I think it should be, if we're going to sell the software, let's sell the software. But I'm not making those decisions. Yes, sir.
All that stuff can run on VMware?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Can run on a virtual machine. Yeah.
But we do sell appliances for ICE also.
We do sell appliances for ICE as well, yes. And again, in this model that we've talked about, we sell the appliances for the wireless LAN controllers, or you can put it on a virtual machine, right? So we give the customer the option, and that's really important in this world. There are a lot of customers who have just came out of that independent server, independent appliance thing, and they don't want to go back in any way, shape, or form. And I agree with them totally. Because that rack space that they don't want to fill that rack space up that they just relieved with virtualization. They want everything virtual. Probably the number one question as a customer as they go back, oh, this is a server? Yeah. Next thing out of their mouth, does it virtualize? Yeah. Now you can say yes. You can say yes. And that's really important. Yes, for all, again, you can get a virtual machine for this. This runs virtually. This is all it sells it. We sell software here. The mobility services engine actually is virtualized as well. Yeah.
Are these standard benchmark results?
Excuse me?
Are these standard benchmark results?
Yes, they're what we support. Now, let's think about that. I'm telling you this. Cisco's the most conservative company I've ever seen.
Because I could see that because of the sizing on the vSphere part.
Believe me, the engineering documents on this, if we say that if it says it does 2,500, I can guarantee you if we didn't stop the licensing, the platform you put this on will probably do 5,000. It would support it. We're so conservative. For an example, when we engineered Communications Manager, and on an individual server, we said we would only support 2,500 phones on an individual server. I went down into Texas with some friends of mine and everything, and they were running 6,000 phones on the box. They, again, hacked the code and everything and put 6,000 just to see if it would work on it, and it would. But Cisco would only support 2,500 because they want to keep those issues out of there. So we're very conservative in that method. So when you see, we are a great engineering company, sometimes too much of an engineering company, I believe. We need to take a few risks, but we don't. Because we have a lot of customers that a black eye to us is a lot of millions and billions of dollars potential. So So again, this would be the network management platform. Again, this manages everything. It manages switches, routers, all our devices out there. This would be our network management platform that we have. We used to have a software package called NSE that's actually this is replacing. Or NSE, yeah.
What happens to a customer deployment where they already have a monitoring piece? Let's say he's got a CA data center and HP OpenView. Will this integrate?
Absolutely. So they could still manage their applications and all that. This would just be an insert. So just click on it and it would go. And all of our network management's been that way. So the question was, will this integrate with HP OpenView or a more enterprise solution? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because it's out there and it does a good job. Other services that we have out there. God, I keep pressing that wrong button. The Mobility Services Engine. The Mobility Services Engine does two things for us. It does two things for us. First of all, it does exactly what it says. It tracks mobile devices. So think about this. What if you're running a healthcare facility that specializes in dementia patients, right? People with Alzheimer's and all this. So you have a retirement home that your niche, what you do is that you take a lot of people who've been diagnosed. Now they may be in different stages of dementia. Right? So they may still, they've been diagnosed and they're not so bad. But after they've gone so far in that you could actually put an RFID tag wristband on them and actually put a wireless network around your building facilities. So if they do wander off, we'll get an alert and you can go get them. Now we live in North Carolina. Now we have things called silver alerts there. Silver alerts are someone who's wandered off. Matter of fact, there's a facility down at Southern Pines who specializes this in the retirement community, who actually has this installed where they actually have this, where they can actually track where everybody's at. And if they go outside of the wireless network, it automatically says, Eddie's went outside the wireless network. The last time we saw him was at exactly this location. He was wandering off next to the lake. So somebody can go get him. Yes?
Yeah, we're going to launch that with one of our wireless customers. They want to put the RFID trackers on equipment in their building.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody decides to walk out of the building with a piece of equipment they're not authorized to, they'll get a flag. So.
Yeah, in hospitals, right? Hospitals do the same thing, and there's a lot of different reasons for that. But absolutely, so they need a mobility services engine. Yeah, so that's what it does. Now you remember some of the things that when you do that, and you have to be realistic with the customer. This uses triangulation, and it was a long time ago since I went to school. But a triangle's got how many sides? 3. So that means that at any one place that you're at, you've got to be seen by 3 access points. So your density is going to go up in your access points. So you might have to do another site survey and everything if you've had a network and you want to change it. So you might have to do an old site survey because you have to see it from 3 so they can actually pinpoint you. I think we can pinpoint them down to like 9 feet, 3 meters or something like that of where this person, device, whatever it is. And we can actually start tracking it. We actually have another software package where you can actually track it and watch it go to different places so you can track it. Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
The acquisition that we did not too long ago was a company called ThinkSmart,
Mm-hmm.
and they do location analytics.
Mm-hmm.
And so with Mobile Services Engine and our APs and some of the software from ThinkSmart, there's a lot of applications in places like airports where you can actually see the flow of how passengers and customers are going through, so you can do human factor studies to say there's a lot of people trying to go through this one gate at 6 p.m. on every day, so that's the...
Let's open more security things or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, so they've done that, and then just recently Cisco is working with Holland America, which is a cruise line.
Yep.
maybe you guys are familiar with it. So they're looking for, they have to basically have these things called muster stations on all their ships, so that if there's an emergency, all the people have to be essentially in these.
Yeah, that's where they come from.
lifeboats, I
Yeah.
guess. So one of the applications that they're doing is having tags on the crew, so if there's an emergency, they can actually see on a screen in wherever, let's say London, of a cruise ship that's out in the
ocean and where the crew members are.
There's 15 of these ships, 15 on this fleet. So they can actually see that all the crew are out of the engine room or wherever based on basically choke point and our AP
Technology,
exciters and RFID tags. So I thought that was a really pretty cool application for how to.
You can also create business opportunities for this. I mean, for example, if you sell this to a shopping mall,
Absolutely.
you can say how many people with smartphones went through a
Absolutely.
specific-
Start doing analytics on that.
And the phones don't necessarily need to associate with the AP. They don't have to actually have the connection because the APs will
Count them. They'll count them with their beacon, right?
Yeah,
When they beacon, they'll count them. Like a lot of these technologies, you know what the limitation is? It's between our ears. We have to be creative. We have to be creative. You know, we're Cisco. We're supposed to be the experts on what the capabilities of technologies are. And we're supposed to be able to talk to a business person and say, here's your business need with all this technology. Because they're a business person, they're not supposed to have all this expertise. So these creative solutions that we have only go through contact and dialogue with business leaders about their business processes and what they're doing and what their requirements are. And then we in the back of our head say, wow, that would be a cool thing to be able to do this. It's the limitations between your ears. It really is. It's between your ears. We have to talk to our customers and find out what they're doing and then be creative with them about these solutions. The technology is generally not the limitation. And you know what? They're willing to open up their pocketbooks. I'm sure that cruise lines don't like to spend money, a lot of money and everything. They've already spent a lot of money in a big ship. But there's some value somewhere in that for them to be able to do that. Guarantee you. So we have to open up. So the first thing this does is track these mobile things. The second thing this does, it's an API platform so you can integrate any other application into our wireless solution. This is the server that opens up any other application that you'd want to do to actually bring in any into our solution. So any other application, whether it be a different radio type network or anything like that, this is the open API platform for it. It doesn't talk to, this talks to the controllers for everything. It pulls all the information about controllers and devices and everything. And if you want another application to use that for any way, shape, or form, this is the open API platform for it. That's what its job. So it's two things. It does mobility, and it's an open API platform for this, for our solution. If I put my glasses down one more time, I'm just can't see them when I walk away. Jeez, I'm laughing. The advanced location, and I think that's even the software you were talking about, is the capability of doing that. Because if you look at what it says, this is where you can actually track things. You can actually use that to do historical tracking and all that with this solution. And again, it's just software. It requires a mobility services engine for this. So that's the products. And again, that's the products today. Next week, we may have different ones.